Hello, everyone. This is Noah Villaverde here again, host of Blank Green Canvas, the podcast. And once again, this week, I am joined by
John Preston Maffeo at your service.
John Preston Maffeo MaffmanJones back again. It's been 2 weeks since we've had our last episode. We've been obviously pretty busy, but given the timing of it all, it seems pretty fitting given that I'm a bit of an OCD freak since we've covered 2 episodes on each podcast. So, without further ado, we're going to continue our discussion on WandaVision. But before we talk about WandaVision, how are you doing, John?
I've been doing better. But my whole house had COVID before when we were doing the last couple of recordings. I ended up getting it over the past week, and I
Dang.
actually I did okay with it though. The only thing is that I have no smell. My brother hasn't
Ah.
had smell recover back, and it's been 3 weeks. So I don't know when I'm gonna get my smell back. I may never get it back. I'm sure I'll get it back eventually, but thankfully we all got through COVID, and now we can just enjoy our lives again
Well,
inside.
I'm continuing to wish you well, obviously, in healing from COVID. A few months back, we had a similar situation with my folks where everyone in the house got it except for me, weirdly enough, and I had to take care of them, which was a bit of a stressful time, obviously, but
Sure.
we powered through, thankfully, and thankfully a vaccine is here, and hopefully we can get it into ourselves as soon as possible, if you will.
Yes.
You know,
Hopefully
so
by the
but once
summer.
again, absolutely, and I'm glad that you're healing from the whole situation. Besides COVID and everything else, have you been watching anything lately besides WandaVision?
I've been trying to watch a few movies while I've been hanging out, doing nothing in the home. I just watched Saint Maud last
Hmm.
night. I watched Willy's Wonderland and Barb and Star, a couple random new movies. I really liked Barb and
Nice.
Star. That this Kristen Wiig comedy, laughed a lot. For everybody out there, didn't expect anything from that movie. It's really funny though.
I
What
might
about
check it
you, John?
out. Yeah, well, if you saw my Instagram story yesterday, I watched all of season 1 of Ted Lasso, which is on Apple TV Plus and stars Jason Sudeikis. I loved it. I love this season. I thought it was like a mutual friend of ours, Alan Gunn, told me it's like if Paddington Bear went into like a nice, really gritty bar.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's a bit of a vulgar show, admittedly, but it's also wholesome in a weird
It's
way.
so
Like
wholesome.
it's so, and also like Jason Sudeikis is so good. Like this,
Mhm.
I think this might be at least right now, this might be his most defining character. Like he's just so lovable, and it's also there's a lot of depth to his character as well. I also
He's
watched
kind of
Mythic
tired.
Quest. Yeah, I also watched Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet, which are also on Apple TV Plus, and that was also pretty funny. It's about it's a workplace satire, but set in like the video game industry. That's
Ooh.
pretty good. It stars Rob McElhenney from
Oh,
Always
I've heard about this
Sunny.
one.
Danny Pudi's in it from Community. It's really funny, like But yeah, Apple TV Plus. I started the free trial, and I just had to check out what they have, and I'm liking what they have so far.
You do have a lot to offer, thankfully. It's really cool.
So
Ted
yeah, both
Lasso is
John
great.
and I, yeah, we both recommend Ted Lasso. We give it 2 thumbs up.
Hmm.
2 thumbs up. So, anyways, there's been a lot on WandaVision.
Oh,
There
really?
has been quite a bit. So, let's start with episode 5 on a very special episode, which was a perfect title for this episode, to say the least. It was another decade that they explored. It was the 1980s.
Hmm.
You
With
know,
the
and
Full House Family Ties vibes.
right down. I love how like the theme songs of like 1980s sitcoms always have to end with like the family having a picnic together.
Yeah, with a little crane shot that pans out.
Yes, like in terms of the 80s aspect of the aesthetic, obviously that's what they've been doing really well. They've been doing a good job of bringing to life and paying tribute to all these eras of sitcoms. And also like in the title sequence, obviously one of the things that became a big meme was Baby Vision.
That was so like this, even like adolescent Vision, just like all those little pictures of Vision's childhood, just like crack you up. It's incredible.
It's wonderful. And with that, like like, so again, we're back into the world of where Wanda has been controlling it, making it like her own life is like a sitcom through the decades. We have her kids, obviously. It's Tommy and Billy, right?
Tommy and Billy, yeah.
Yes, and they are having their own little shenanigans. They found a dog and they want to keep the dog, and obviously it's like a typical after school like sitcom kind of special. It's very wholesome, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, since we know the context of what's going on in Wanda's mind, uh, there's something sinister from what it looks like.
Mm. What part are we referring to with the?
Well, obviously,
Please continue.
given the fact that we know like obviously we have all of our friends outside of her realm that are trying to take care of it and trying to fix it all. Like Jimmy Woo and Darcy, Monica Rambeau. They're trying their hardest to make sure that this could be taken care of with as little violence as possible. Unfortunately for Wanda, she's not having it. No.
Well, one for one, they tried to shoot a drone at her. They tried to kill, or they tried to harm everything that's going on there. Which leads to one of my favorite scenes from the episode when she walks out and says, "Leave me alone," and it's like a big oh shit moment. Oh, she can leave.
I I knew like the moment she left her own like her bubble, I knew something was gonna about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Something was up, And when she pointed all the guns back at that guy, I just realized, whoa, like, what if she's the villain of this show?
Yeah, and also I still wonder. Like the big question is if she's controlling all of this. Like how much control does she have over everything? And I'm kind of leaning towards she does.
Well, yeah, because clearly it's revealed. Is it in that episode or the previous one where Wanda found Vision's body?
That was the episode before, I thought.
Right.
I
Okay,
think
but
so.
yeah, we learned that she found his body shortly after the events of Infinity War because she clearly was still grieving, and through her own way, she brought him back to life,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll bring it up again when we talk about the next episode. But after she has her little moment with everybody at Sword, she goes back into her world, and then Vision realizes something is really rotten there in Westview.
He has a lot more awareness, and it's quite frankly uncomfortable seeing him become more and more aware of the situation. But it all ends in a big thing, which we'll get to, I'm sure.
Absolutely. They have a bit of a Marriage Story situation. We all know that scene from Marriage Story, but this
Every
time
day I wake up.
instead of Black Widow and Kylo Ren, it's it's Wanda
Mm-hmm.
and it's Vision, and like for one, we don't stress enough how great of an actor both um, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen are. They're great
Oh yeah.
actors and they're really bringing it here, especially Elizabeth Olsen, I must say. And as it looks like their fight is just about to commence into something really bad, someone knocks on the door.
Ding dong. Who's
Yeah,
there?
who is it? And like when this was coming up, I had a feeling, wait, I think I know who this has to be.
I
You
was so
know,
oblivious. I had no idea who it was. I had no
I had a
idea.
feeling. And then all of a sudden, we see the back of this character's hair.
Did you think it was Aaron Taylor Johnson?
No, because of the rumors I heard, I had a feeling like, wait,
Right. Yeah.
are they going there? And then when it finally revealed who it was, it's Peter Maximoff or Pietro. Peter based from the X-Men universe, but Pietro canonically in the MCU. But he's played by Evan Peters,
It's
and he
super
goes
meta.
on and he does this weird like Fawn style kind of like entrance, you
Who's
know,
the popsicle?
and I gotta say, like when I first saw that scene, I screamed. Like I was like, yes, I
Oh, what
can't
was it?
like, oh man.
It's crazy. The way your mind just starts to like we can do like a whole 2 hours about this whole little thing what they're trying to set up. Whether it is just kind of either they're setting up something a lot bigger with this, or it's just kind of fun because it makes sense within the context of the story of oh they recast because they always recast in sitcoms with like
Right.
Aunt Viv and like Fresh Prince and stuff like that.
Oh
really
yeah, I
creative
love
choice.
Darcy's delivery there, where she said she recast Pietro.
Yeah,
And that obviously talk about a great cliffhanger to leave on because I was so eager for the next episode, mainly because I just wanted to see how Evan Peters factors into the situation.
right.
So which leads us into the next episode, which is a very special Halloween special, if you will.
I love
And
the Halloween episodes.
I
Treehouse of
love
Horrors.
Halloween episodes. Oh yeah, and the 1990 it's a 90s aesthetic obviously, so it's kind of following that super cool like totally awesome and rad if you will kind of scenario.
Totally.
And it in this way it actually has the kids as the main characters in this show, if you will. Like they're narrating to the camera,
Yeah,
kind of like Malcolm in the Middle, even though that was
yeah.
a
It
2000
it
show.
brings us closer into their characters too, which I'm sure
Oh yes.
I don't know if it's gonna lead to a lot more tragedy later on. If we're gonna
Oh
feel
yes.
worse about things.
Especially if it looks like it could adapt the House of M story. That would be
Hmm.
really interesting, but we'll see
Yeah.
how that turns out. But like, so we're in their house. It's the 90s. It's Halloween, and they have their costumes, and of course, like Wanda walks down the stairs, and she's wearing her actual comic book costume with the headpiece and everything else. For one, yes, it's a Halloween costume, but how great does it look? Like for the kind of vibe they're going for.
It looks perfect. Honestly, I didn't
Yeah,
read the comic books for like the X-Men or anything like that, but like just like the way they did it and paid homage to it, it's perfect.
yeah, they found a way to do it really well, and also Vision, his own version of a Halloween costume. It's
They
paying
make
tribute to
a
the original
Mexican
design,
wrestler.
even though like the actual design for Vision is pretty faithful to the comic already. This
Right.
take, it does it even more. And speaking of Quicksilver, Evan Peters, he's kind of like the slacker uncle, in this episode. Like he's
Yeah,
the
he's
cool
the fun
uncle
side
that to the
character everybody
kids.
loves to like make fun of and also wants to like hang out with.
Bit of a man child. I gotta say, Evan Peters blends in really well in this
Oh, his
universe.
energy it brings really fun vibes, like for
Yeah,
sure.
not yeah, John. Not just because he has like the weight behind it. Because those who know where he's from, at least in terms of casting, we kind of know what's up a little bit. But then again, Marvel might be punking us still.
It might be.
But at the same time, like he really blends in well, and like I really love his scenes, especially with Wanda.
Hmm.
Like one, I also love his Halloween costume, paying tribute to the Quicksilver design of the comics as well, with the hair,
Yeah, it took
and
me a minute, but I was
everything.
like, I recognized it too. I was like, oh yeah, with the stripe and the.
Yes, and then we see there's like a big Halloween gathering in Westview, but Vision is still like he's still uncertain about everything that's been going on because he found out about like all of the friends that he and coworkers and neighbors that he has that they are under Wanda's control.
He's straight
Once he
up
touches
lying
them,
to Wanda at this
oh
point.
yeah, typical sitcom situation, but
Hmm.
understandable in Vision's case. So he goes off towards the corner of Westview, and he sees,
I mean, I'm doing it for
oh
the
man,
video, but
of course, yeah, they doing the gesture, and it's just like they're just doing a GIF or GIF or whatever, and it's
they're
really
creating a
like,
GIF. So cute.
yes, indeed,
It's
and
not cute.
it's not cute,
That
but
poor woman.
then oh man, it's really sad like what's been going on with everybody in that's not aware that they're under the control of Wanda in the situation. And Catherine Hahn, he runs into Catherine Hahn like in her car. And
What is
it's a
she
scene
doing
that we
over
saw, yeah. And it's a scene that we've seen in the trailer
there? Hmm.
where Vision is approaching her and she sees him. It's like, "Oh my goodness, you're an Avenger. You're here to save me." And Vision comes up and he's like, "Wait, what's an Avenger?"
Yeah,
And
he
then it
has
really
no recollection of
yes.
anything.
And it really ties things back again to like, oh yes, the Vision that we were close to is permanently gone.
Hmm. It's kind
But
of
this
like Groot.
Vision is it's kind of like Groot and it's like Gamora, from
Yeah.
Infinity War and Endgame. The
Hmm.
version that we grew up to know is gone, but in continuity wise, still out there and
Right.
everything else, which I love. It's kind of their way of still keeping stakes, but like also trying to keep characters involved, even though it's the same actor coming back. Some
Yeah.
might argue the stakes aren't as drastic, but I still think it works out. And
Oh,
it
I
adds a
didn't
lot of
know.
context to the whole world of what's going on and what really is twisted in Wanda's mind.
Right.
And
Yeah,
once
I agree.
Vision realizes it, like let's talk about that scene where Vision tries to get out of the bubble.
So we basically know that he's dead, and like the only thing keeping him animated and alive is Wanda. Like she's like his battery source. But like it looked almost like the fate he was suffering there was worse than in Infinity War. He's just slowly being chipped away, like as he's trying to tell these people, save everybody. What are you doing? And they're all like, nah.
Yeah,
Like even like the guy Hayward's like Darcy's the only one who's kind of like listen to him, and they're like, no.
it is a scary situation to be involved in, and you could feel the pain in in Vision's face when he's trying to reconcile with the situation. But obviously, we go back into Westview during Halloween night. You know, Wanda is with Pietro and her kids, and we see one of their kids are already have powers. You know, one of them can run
Yeah.
fast, just like their uncle, and the other is telekinetic. And one of them realizes that their dad Viz is off somewhere and he's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And once Wanda realizes this, it
He
gets drastic.
expands. One, she gets
And
angry
man,
at Pietro, and then two, she starts expanding the hex, which is insane.
yeah, some people because I think it was this episode where a scene leaked,
Well,
and
when she
when
hits
she
Pietro with
yeah, and some people took that as, oh, did he kill him? No, I don't think she killed him. I think she just stunned him. You know, like
no,
he's gonna
but
come back.
people are also saying, why is he prying her so bad for information?
Yes,
Like,
like there's that
is he
moment.
who he says he
Yeah,
is?
yeah, there was that moment where Pietro like confronts her. You know, or they sorry, they confront each other. Wanda is looking at him, and then she asks him, "Hey, what happened to your accent?" To which he replies, "What happened to yours?"
Yeah,
Which was a nice little moment. And then it adds more to the mystery of what are you the Pietro we or the Peter Maximoff we met from the X-Men universe? Are you somebody else that just happens to fit in well here as a means to misdirect us?
mm-hmm.
What's going on? You know,
Yeah,
and then
a lot of questions.
as all the chaos kind of coalesces, Wanda realizes what she needs to do in order to protect what she wants. So she expands the bubble.
Big
Talk about
question here, though. How far can you expand if she could do that? Like, she put a lot of mileage on that expansion. She started hitting like gas stations, and like she went pretty far. What's to say she could
oh
just keep
yes,
going?
yes, and then that's how the episode ends. And I don't know if you saw this theory, John, but apparently there's a theory out there in which what if it's like Magneto pulling the strings and this is how the mutants are created?
Magneto pulling the strings?
Yeah, like what if he is the what if this is how or somebody else that's pulling the strings and this is actually how mutants are created? Because what if the people in the bubble because remember Monica when she leaves that bubble, you know, like
Yeah, her cells are like being formed around and going crazy, and she's developing.
what if this is the creation of the mutants in the MCU?
I wouldn't hate it.
I
It's
wouldn't hate it
different.
either.
It's weird, but I don't think I hate it. It's a new way. If you're gonna do it, it seems like a fun way of integrating them in. But I don't know how
Yeah.
it's a lot of questions there. Like, how do you get Wolverine, who has the whole striker situation? Like, what are
Yes.
the origin stories for all these characters if that's how this
Right.
happens?
And at the same time, as interesting of a theory that is, I still believe uh, Pietro that we know here as Evan Peters. I'm still holding on to the belief that he actually is from the X-Men world.
I think it's something else. I'm disagreeing in the sense that I think
Ah,
he's a red herring. Like, he's somebody else disguised as that. So it's fun for
that's
us, the
interesting.
viewer, but he's really not him.
Oh, that's an interesting way to take it. That's a really cool way to kind of like, you know, kind of play meta for the viewer's sake, but not too meta to where it's distracting. That would be
Yeah.
interesting.
I think it is telling
Yeah.
us that there's something out there multiverse wise, but it could I think they're throwing us all they're throwing us for a big loop right now.
Yeah.
I
And I
feel like.
wouldn't be I will say I wouldn't be surprised if he survives this though.
Oh no.
Like we'll see. Like and if he
That was
actually
cool.
becomes Quicksilver,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the MCU, which would be because I already loved him in the X-Men movies. I'm really liking him here. I just think he brings an interesting dynamic,
Oh, he totally
to
does.
the
Yeah.
whole. Yeah, and but yeah, like I need the next episode already. Like each cliffhanger gets more and more
It's the
exciting.
cliffhangers are getting insane. Well, another thing too. Monica keeps mentioning this engineer or whatever that they're gonna
Oh
go find.
right.
People keep saying it's somebody really big, like it might be Reed Richards or something, like Fantastic Four. Or,
If it's Reed Richards, that would blow my mind. I don't think they've come that far yet in regards to casting Fantastic Four actors yet.
you don't think they're gonna do anything that cataclysmic yet in this show?
I'm. They could surprise us. I mean, this show has been surprising every week, lately. But I'm not sure if they're maybe a reference to like the Baxter Building or something like that. Because I believe the Fantastic Four exists already.
Okay, you
Probably.
don't think they are pre-origin? You think they're
Yeah.
already?
Like I'm. Yeah, I'm curious to see how the Fantastic Four are implemented into the MCU overall. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just curious. Like, it would be cool if it was Reed Richards. That would blow my mind, and I would get excited. But I'm curious to whom she's referring to. I mean, that's what's great about the show format for the MCU. There are little details that we don't notice on the first viewing because we're just kind of caught up on everything, like
Yeah.
like Monica's partner that she has and everything else. But I gotta say, like, I'm really loving the show overall so far. Marvel is really exciting us with like this new venture that they're doing with the Disney Plus shows, and I am
Working out.
eager to see what comes next. So overall, like,
Also,
what do you think of the episodes, both of them?
I really like both of them. I think again they continually become higher stakes and higher in characters and higher in just entertainment value as it goes on. They're finding a way to escalate everything where we're at the point now where it feels like every time there's a new episode that ends, it's
Oh yeah,
like like you're sitting there like, is it next week? And apparently, I don't know how true this is, but I think apparently every episode from now on is going to be an hour long. Which, if that's true, that's nuts.
oh,
That's
I
insane.
can't
If
wait.
they're going to do it in an hour, 3 hours worth of like, if that's true. But they're doing a really good job of keeping people on the hook, but giving you they're every week they're doing a lot more to keep you pulled in, but also they're having a lot of fun with the whole sitcom still. I don't know how much longer they're going to do a sitcom situation.
I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
feel like
gonna
we're kind of
do
done with that.
maybe 2000s, and that'll probably be the last one.
Yeah, I feel like one of the commercials had like a Modern Family vibe. Not
Modern
the original
Family,
probably.
or even like The Office kind of vibe, because I heard that there's gonna be an episode that's done in the mockumentary style.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so there's that coming up. But yeah, like I'm loving the show, and it's clear that you're really enjoying it as well.
Hmm.
And we're looking forward to more of it in the next 3 weeks. Wow, 3 weeks.
And then we go. Yeah, we've been flying through this, honestly.
Absolutely. That's what I'm loving about the weekly release format with this and Mandalorian and other streaming services that have been doing it with like, weekly releases. I prefer it, honestly, because it gives more time for people to catch up, to be caught up. And then the weekly discussion has the discussion lasting longer for the shows instead of just binging it all at once.
Absolutely, the water cooler
Like,
vibe brings a big thing to it.
yeah, and it's bringing it back, especially since we're still kind of dealing with COVID, obviously. Like, it's an opportunity for us to chat with our friends online about like what we saw last week, like
Hmm.
and speculate every week in a way that is exciting. That's the difference from a whole movie releasing every year where we speculate for a whole year, about one little detail. This one it prolongs it for like each week, like, oh, what do you think is gonna happen next? And it's been a while. I guess maybe the last season of Game of Thrones was the last time something at this big of a scale, besides Mandalorian and this obviously in
Yeah,
regards to the water cooler discussion.
it's fun to have. I wouldn't call this event television, but it is big enough. Apparently, it's the biggest show watched in the world right now. So what do I
Yeah.
know? But it does feel like we're getting towards like event level discussion where it is like Game of Thrones the last couple seasons where people like feel like everybody was talking about it every week.
Yeah, and I'm eager for what's coming next. So
Oh,
yeah, that was our discussion. That was our discussion of WandaVision in the last 2 episodes. There's going to be 3 episodes left. And I just wanted to say thank you again, John, for joining again on this discussion for Blank Green
oh, of course.
Canvas.
thank you for having me on again. I love doing this with you.
Of
It's a lot of
course, and
fun.
I love doing this with you, man. And once again, we wish you well in your continued recovery. We hope you get your sense of smell back.
Thank you. Hopefully.
Yes, and of course, before we wrap this up, where can people find you?
You can find me pretty much everywhere on social media and on YouTube at MaffmanJones. That's one word. And yeah,
Thank you very much, John. And once again, I am Noah Villaverde. And in the meantime, as you're listening or watching this podcast, I released the second part of my Pixar retrospective video just a few days ago. It took a few copyright claims to kind of get it properly uploaded. If you're a
of
YouTuber,
course.
you understand. And it sucks, but I finally got it up and I'm pretty happy with how both these videos turned out, and it was really like the thing about editing videos like that, and you may know this, the hours go by quick,
Oh
but
yeah,
you
a
enjoy
whole like
but
so fast.
it's
Scary.
enjoyable at the same time. There's something enjoyable if you're really loving what you're putting together. And I loved editing this one in particular together. I definitely hope you guys check that one out. I hope you guys give that one a like and a subscribe. Just to let you know, if you like our videos overall, it helps us in the algorithm and it will promote us and it will motivate us to continue posting more content and growing our audience together and growing a more bigger community. Maybe not in the same way Wanda is in the episode, but in
Well,
a
yeah, we'll give everybody equal treatment, unlike in WandaVision.
yeah, don't worry, we're not gonna control you guys and turn
Mhm.
you into our slaves to do everything for us. We won't, for real, we won't do that. Yeah, but like we'd really appreciate it. So it's Mothman Jones and any social media for John. And for me, you can follow me here and subscribe to Blank Green Canvas on YouTube. Check out my latest Pixar videos and also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and social media. I'm Noah_Villaverde, and on Facebook, it's also Blank Green Canvas. So until next time, I am Noah Villaverde of Blank Green Canvas,
And I am John Maffeo MaffmanJones.
and we will see you again in the next podcast.
See you then.
Take care.